Emily Carter always believed her apartment building was old, but harmless, until the night she realized something had been watching her for weeks. It started with tiny signs. Her front door slightly open, her books moved, her shoes placed in a different order. She blamed stress, school, lack of sleep, but deep down she felt a presence. At 11:58 p.m. she returned home and froze. The hallway lights flickered one by one behind her, as if someone was following, but staying just far enough to hide. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. Why did you come home early tonight? Her blood turned cold. She looked around. Empty hallway, heavy silence, almost too heavy. She slowly reached for her keys, but the apartment door handle moved from the inside, very slowly, like someone was waiting for her to arrive. And that was the moment Emily understood. This wasn't a place she lived in. It was a place she was being watched. Emily stepped back from the door, her breath sharp and uneven. She knew she should run, scream, do something, but fear held her like cold hands around her throat. The handle on the other side stopped moving, and the silence grew heavier, thicker, like the building itself was holding its breath. Then, soft footsteps echoed from the stairwell. Slow, measured, coming upward. Emily didn't recognize the sound, but it felt familiar in the worst way, like she had heard it before without realizing. Her phone vibrated again. Another message. You weren't supposed to come alone. Her knees weakened. Who was texting her? How long had they been inside? She turned toward the stairwell. The lights there flickered too, creating long, broken shadows crawling up the walls. A whisper, very faint, drifted from below. Her name, Emily. That was when she realized whoever was in the building with her knew her voice, her routine, her life too well. Emily's heartbeat hammered loudly in her ears as she stepped backward toward the far end of the hallway. She kept her eyes fixed on the stairwell, waiting, hoping that the footsteps were just her imagination. But then she heard it again. Slow, dragging, as if whoever was coming up didn't want to rush. They wanted her to listen. Her phone vibrated a third time. A new message. Don't run. You always run. A chill ran up her spine. Someone had been watching her long before tonight, tracking her habits, memorizing her movements. Suddenly, the hallway lights dimmed, not flickering this time, just slowly dying out one by one, moving toward her. Emily covered her mouth to muffle her breathing. There was another sound now. Something soft brushing against the wall, like fingertips tracing the wallpaper. Getting closer, she backed into the far corner, clutching her phone as if it could protect her. And then, from the darkness, a calm, steady voice whispered, "Emily, you should have stayed downstairs." Emily pressed herself tighter into the corner, her pulse trembling beneath her skin. The hallway was nearly swallowed by darkness now, only a thin line of fading light above her head still glowing. She kept telling herself it was a nightmare, something she would wake up from. But every sound around her felt too real. Then her phone buzzed again. But this time, it wasn't a message. It was a live call from the same unknown number. Her hands shook as she slowly lifted the phone to her ear. She didn't speak, but the person on the other end did. Calmly. "You hide the same way you did last week." Emily's breath stopped. Last week, she had been home all week. Alone, hadn't she? The voice continued almost gently. "I told you I'd come back when you finally noticed." Suddenly, a soft shadow moved inches from her face. Something passing between her and the last bit of hallway light, Emily pressed her eyes shut, gripping her phone until her knuckles turned white. And the voice whispered one last time, right beside her ear, "I've always been here.